Good morning, everyone. I am Shaira Wong, and our next topic is about the competencies of information literate individual and information literacy landscape. And these are my objectives. First is to identify the key competencies required for information literacy in today's digital age, to examine the competencies required for an individual to be considered information literate in today's society, and to explain the information literacy landscape. So information is all around us, from the news we read, to the videos we watch, and to the social media platforms we engage with. So in a world where information is just a click away, being information literate is more important than ever, for it will help us to make informed decisions, stay updated on current events, and become lifelong learners. But what does it really mean to be information literate? According to the American Library Association, an information literate person is someone who has learned how to learn. They know how to find and use information effectively and share it with others. They are always ready to learn new things and can find the information they need for any task or decision they face, which allows them to be prepared for lifelong learning. So basically, being information literate means that alam natin kung paano tayo matututo, paano maghanap at sumuri ng impormasyon, at kung paano gamitin ang mga impormasyon na ating nakalap sa wasto at tamang pamamaraan. So in this report, we will explore the 6 competencies that the American Library Association defines as being information literate. So according to them, in order for us to become truly information to be truly information literate, we have to simultaneously develop these following competencies. So first is the awareness of how you engage with the digital world, find meaning in the information you discover, articulate what kind of information you require, use information ethically, and understand the role you can play in the communication in your profession, and how you evaluate the information for credibility and authority. So, the first competency is awareness of how you engage with the digital world. We live in a digital age, and yung engagement natin sa digital world has become a part of our daily lives. Hindi natin maitatanggi ang malimit nating pakikipag-interact sa digital media sa iba't ibang pamamaraan, whether it's scrolling through social media, sa paglalaro ng mga video game, or sa paggamit ng mga digital assistant like Siri or Alexa. But being aware of how we engage with the digital world is crucial, as it allows us to understand the potential impact of our actions and decisions in the digital world. So this competency involves understanding how we interact with technology at kung paanong ang pakikipag-interact nating ito ay nakaaapekto sa ating buhay. So dito, dapat ay mindful din tayo sa information na ating kinukonsumo at sa mga sources na ginagamit at pinagkakatiwalaan natin. So for example, it is undeniable that most of us always find ourselves mindlessly scrolling through social media, kung saan kalimitan ay hindi na natin napapansin na nagtatagal na pala ang pagbababad natin dito. And research has shown that the average person spends over 2 hours a day on social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram. But being aware of how you engage with the digital world means more than just being mindful of how much time you spend on social media. It also means understanding the ways in which these platforms are designed to keep you engaged. So kung mapapansin nyo, most of the time, yung Instagram feed mo or yung Instagram feed natin seems to be filled with posts that we're actually interested in, or the way that Facebook shows us ads for products that we have been thinking about buying. So ito ay dahil yung mga platforms na ito ay gumagamit ng mga algorithms to personalize our experience and keep us engaged for longer periods of time. So an information literate individual is aware of these tactics and is able to engage with the digital world in a way that is intentional and purposeful. So dito, pwede kang mag-set ng limits on the amount of time you spend on social media or use tools like ad blockers to limit distractions. By being aware of how we engage with the digital world, we can take control of our online experience and use it to our advantage rather than being controlled by it. So next is how you find meaning in the information you discover. So the ability to find meaning in the information we discover is another critical competency of an information literate individual. It involves evaluating and interpreting information to understand its significance and relevance to our lives. This competency also requires us to distinguish between fact and opinion and to be critical sa mga information na nai-encounter natin. So for instance, imagine you are doing research on the benefits and risk of a new vaccine. So being able to evaluate and interpret the information you discover will help you make an informed decision about whether or not to get vaccinated. Without this competency, maaari tayong maging biktima ng misinformation and make a decision that could be detrimental sa ating health. Another example, let's say you're planning a trip to a new city and you want to find the best local restaurants to try. Para magawa yun, pwede kang mag-search sa Google. Pero dahil sa dami ng information, maaari ka ring ma-overwhelm sa results na mas makakapagpahirap pa sa'yo. So, sa mga ganitong situation, an information literate individual would know how to refine their search terms, like use filters and advanced search tools, or evaluate the sources of information they come across. So dito, bilang isang information literate individual, pwede kang humanap ng mga restaurant reviews galing sa mga reputable websites katulad ng TripAdvisor Philippines, or magbasa ng blog posts or articles recommended by local food bloggers, or you can even ask for recommendations from your trusted friends or social media contacts. The next competency is how to articulate what kind of information you require. So, knowing what kind of information you need is crucial for effective research, thus essential for becoming an information literate individual. So, this competency involves the ability to formulate questions, determine the purpose of your search, and identify the best sources of information to meet your needs. For example, if you are writing a research paper on mental health, you need to determine yung specific topic within that broad subject na gusto mong i-explore, and you need to articulate exactly what kind of information you require. Like for instance, magde-develop ka muna ng mga brainstorming questions para sa topic mo para makatulong upang mas ma-refine mo yung paghahanap mo ng information na nakapokus sa specific aspects of your topic na mas magiging relevant sa iyong research. You also need to identify the best sources of information such as yung mga peer-reviewed article or academic journals to ensure that the information you gather is credible and relevant. This competency is essential because it will help you identify exactly what kind of information you need, which saves you time and helps you to produce a better quality research paper. So another example, you're planning a road trip with your friends and gusto mong makahanap ng the best na ruta or daanan. So as an information literate individual, alam mo na ang first step para magawa mo yung gusto mo is to articulate what kind of information you require. So you start by considering what's important to you and what's important to your friends. So do you want to take the shortest route or the most scenic one? Or are there any specific attractions or landmarks you want to see along the way? And also, what's your budget for gas and food? So by asking these questions and articulating what kind of information you need, you can then begin your search for the best route. So you can use online maps, travel guides, or even ask for recommendations from people who have taken a similar trip before. Through this process, you are able to find the most relevant and useful information to plan your road trip. So next po is how to use information ethically. So using information ethically is an essential competency of an information literate individual. It involves citing sources, acknowledging ownership, and respecting intellectual property rights. It also means being mindful of the impact of using information on the owners and other stakeholders. So for example, you are a student working on a research paper and you find a perfect article online that provides all the information you need to make your paper impressive. Pero napansin mo na yung article na nahanap mo is not cited properly and it has no author attribution. So as an information literate individual, you know that using the article without proper citation is not ethical. And you also understand that using someone else's work without attribution could be considered plagiarism, which is not only unethical but also illegal. So understanding this competency will help you take the time to find the original source of the article and cite it properly in your research paper. So by using the information ethically, you not only avoid getting into trouble, but also show respect for the work of others. Next competency is understand the role you can play in the communication in your profession. An information literate individual understands the role they can play in communication in their profession. We all know that the ability to communicate effectively is critical in any profession, and this competency involves using the information you gather to communicate effectively with your colleagues, clients, or other stakeholders. It also means being able to communicate your findings in a way that is easily understandable and actionable. In our professional lives, we often gather information that can be useful to our colleagues or clients. For example, pwedeng mag-research ang isang doctor ng new treatments or medications that could help their patients. Or an engineer may gather data on the latest technologies na makatutulong sa kanilang clients. However, simply gathering this information is not enough. Mahalaga rin na mabisa nilang maipabatid yung resulta ng research dun sa iba sa paraan na mauunawaan ito at maia-apply. Effective communication can be challenging, especially when dealing with complex or technical information, because it requires the ability to break down complex concepts into simple terms, to understand the needs and knowledge level of your audience, and to use appropriate channels of communications, such as yung mga reports, presentations, or emails. So one example of this competency is in the field of journalism. An information literate journalist may gather information from various sources about a particular topic or issue. Ngunit kung hindi nila mabisang maipababatid yung kanilang nakalap na information sa kanilang readers or audiences, then the information is essentially useless, because a good journalist shall be able to take complex information and make it accessible and understandable to their audience. So another topic, let's say a patron comes into the library looking for information on a specific topic. So an information literate library staff would be able to ask questions to determine exactly what the patron is looking for, then use their knowledge of the library's resources para mag-guide that para mag-guide yung patron na yon sa the best resources of information. And they would then communicate this information to the patron in a clear and concise way and shall ensure that the patron understands how to access the information and how it can benefit them. So the last competency po is how you evaluate information for credibility and authority. So this is the final competency of an information literate individual. And it is about, or it is being or having the ability to evaluate information for credibility and authority. So sa dami ng information available online, it is essential for us to distinguish between trustworthy sources and those that are unreliable or misleading. These skills is especially important in today's age of fake news and misinformation. And yung mga information literate people, they know how to recognize credible sources of information and can evaluate the quality of the information they find. For example, you're researching a health issue online. So as an information literate individual, you would take the time to evaluate the sources of the information you find to ensure that the information that you are reading is accurate and reliable. You might look for information from reputable organizations like the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention or the World Health Organization. Or you can also look for articles written by experts in the field. So that's it po for this topic. Let us now move on the information literacy landscape. So this information literacy landscape is a Venn diagram that illustrates the intersection of 5 different types of literacies, which are the academic, new, media, digital, and information literacy. And makikita po natin na at the center of this diagram is the information literacy, which is the foundation of all the other literacies. So para mas maging malinaw po, let's break down each of the literacies in more detail. So academic literacies refer to the skills needed to succeed in academic settings, such as universities and colleges. This includes skills like critical thinking, academic reading and writing, and research. And yung new literacies naman refer to the skills needed to navigate and communicate in digital spaces, such as social media, blogs, and wikis. Yung media literacy naman, it refers to the ability to analyze and interpret media messages, including advertisements, news articles, and entertainment media. Digital literacy refers naman to the skills needed to use digital tools and technologies effectively, katulad ng mga social media platforms, search engines, and other online sources. And information literacy, as mentioned earlier, is the foundation of all the other literacies. It refers to the ability to find, evaluate, and use information effectively. And in today's world, with the vast amount of information available to us, possessing information literacy skills is essential to make informed decisions and participate effectively in society. So let's take an example to make it more relatable. Say you're a student researching a topic for a school project, and you need to find reliable sources of information para masuportahan mo yung research mo. To do this, you need to have information literacy skills, which will allow you to evaluate yung mga information or sources na mahahanap mo and ma-determine kung tunay bang credible at mapagkakatiwalaan ang mga sources na ito. In this situation, you may check the author's credentials, the credentials of the publisher, and the date of the publication para malaman kung timely at hindi pa outdated yung information. However, to be fully information literate, you also need to possess other literacies such as academic, media, digital, and new literacies. To be academically literate means you must be able to read and understand scholarly articles, academic journals, and books. Kasi kung hindi ka academically literate, maaaring hindi mo alam kung paano yung tama at wastong pag-format ng research paper, how to use citations, or understand complex academic vocabulary, which would possibly result in not being able to fully comprehend the information you find and struggle in using that information effectively in your research. New literacies are also important, especially in today's world where technology and the internet are rapidly changing. For example, if you're not familiar with new literacies such as social media, all the online forums, you may miss out on valuable sources of information na maaaring makatulong sa iyong research. Additionally, new literacies can help you connect with others who also have a similar interest or expertise, which can be helpful when conducting your research. Bukod pa sa mga nabanggit na ito, having digital literacy skills is crucial to finding and using information in today's digital age, because you need to know how to use search engines and databases effectively, and to navigate online resources and use software tools para mas maayos mong mai-organize and ma-present yung research findings mo. And if you're not media literate, you may not be able to critically evaluate and analyze the information presented in a news article or on social media. So in conclusion, the information literacy landscape diagram illustrates the interconnectedness of the 5 different types of literacy. And as I have mentioned in our example, possessing all these literacies can help us conduct a thorough research and evaluate the information we find and use it effectively. And in today's information age, being information literate is more important than ever before. And by developing these literacies, we can become a better informed citizen, student, and professional, and make informed decisions that would affect our life and those around us. So that's all po for my report, and here are my references. Thank you po for listening.